The series starts with a flashback of what happened 3 years ago. On an island, there are gigantic ants causing havoc. There are people on the island who are currently engaged with the ants, but are getting massacred. Suddenly, a skilled hunter named Byingu comes to help. He uses a short pole to kill the ants. That's a very weird weapon. Let us just call it that. He also uses healing magic to save them. Nice, but he is not our MC. When an ant tries to sneak up on him, his teammates emerge and save him. They are Yoonho and Yoonseok. They get rid of the red ants really fast. In another part of the island, we also see Guildmaster Choi fighting the ants. They explain that 10 years ago, portals to another dimension opened all over the world. These portals brought in monsters and mysterious creatures. People who could fight these monsters are called awakened beings or hunters, with the strongest being S rank and the weakest being E rank. In today's time, a portal opens at a construction site, and a group of hunters goes to check it out. A fat guy named Park shows up and greets Kim. A frail-looking Sung Jin Woo arrives, and suddenly everyone gets a burst of happiness. He is our MC, and he is the weakest hunter alive. What a pathetic loser, right? And he knows it. Sung talks to a redhead girl named Juhee. Our MC might be weak, but still got riz. A guy named Song Cheol introduces himself as the raid leader, guiding the hunters into a portal. In the Hunter Association, the chairman talks to a subordinate about hunters making money by selling essence stones from defeated monsters. The story quickly shifts to Sung Jinwoo, who gets an essence stone after beating a tough monster. But he instantly gets attacked again, being saved by Park. Really pathetic and weak mech we got here. As they beat the boss, they are bummed because they got little to no loot in the dungeon. Suddenly, a man comes up on a cave in the dungeon, and they end up going inside the cave. It is disclosed that after defeating the boss, the party only has 1 hour to leave the dungeon. Jinwoo talks to Juhee and gets scolded by her. Amidst this, Juhee nervously asks Jinwoo on a date. Well, consider me jealous. And they reach a gate. The hunters open the door to find a huge hall with gigantic figures, with the biggest and most intimidating one on a throne. They discover writings on a tablet. Juhee says she saw the big statue's eyes move, and suddenly the heavy door seals shut behind them. A guy approaches the door and gets his head cut off by the statue guarding it. Now that's an easy yet gruesome way for a background character to die. This shocking event leaves the party scared and afraid for their lives. Who wouldn't? When Hunter Sung sees the statue's eyes move, he warns his teammates. The statue shoots lasers from its eyes, completely burning one person, but others dodge it because of Jinwoo's warning. The fear spreads through the party as they realize the seriousness of the situation. Song coming up to Sung and thanking him for saving their lives. Song thinks that the statue is an S rank, or even above. Sung wonders if the god mentioned in the text could be the giant statue itself. One party member, out of fear and cockiness, tries to rely on his speed to escape, but instantly gets killed by the giant statue's laser. Another background character dies just like that. Sung thinks harder on the commandment on the tablet, worship the god. After that, Sung bows to the statue. The statue stops attacking, and they manage to escape death. At least for now. The god statue then stands up and comes towards the hunters. Song asks Sung what they should do next, and Sung remembers the second commandment, praise the god. A male hunter tries praying to the god statue, but unfortunately, the statue kills him. The statue also kills a female hunter, making the heroes run away. What a killing spree. Park tries to get far from the god statue, but ends up getting killed as well. Sung sees some statues with instruments nearby. Song and another ally go near these statues, and they start playing the instrument, hence praising the god. Sung and Juhee run to one of the statues. Sung leaves Juhee there and runs for another statue. Before Sung almost gets killed at the god statue's feet, he reaches a nearby instrument carrying statue just in time, saving his life. The god statue goes back to its seat. Juhee rushes over to Sung, and in all horror sees that he lost one of his legs. While Juhee heals Sung's wound, suddenly, the god statue summons an altar. They remember the third commandment, that is, believe in the god. Out of nowhere, flames start appearing around the altar. Sung asks two hunters to take him there so he can observe it. Sung asks Kim and Juhee to enter the altar's domain. Suddenly, several statues approach them, and Sung tells everyone to keep an eye on them. A female hunter can't handle the pressure and runs away and gets safely out of the door. Another hunter can't handle the pressure, drops Sung, and runs in the same direction the woman did. Sung tells all of them to keep watching the statue. He believes the blue flames around them work as a timer, and once they're gone, they can leave. Kim also decides to leave. Song tells Juhee to go with Sung and leave him behind. Juhee tries to leave but realizes she can't move her legs. Sung tells Song to go with Juhee, so Song knocks her out and leaves Sung alone. As Sung attempts to fight back, the statues overpower him. In the midst of this harsh beating, just before the last flame goes out and a statue moves in to attack Sung, a screen appears in front of him. The log informs Sung that he's eligible to become a player and gives him 2 seconds to accept the offer. Otherwise, he'll die. The episode concludes with Sung accepting the offer. RMC is not dead. His injuries from the statues are no longer there. Woo, the manager of the Hunter Association's surveillance team, and his partner Kang came into Sung's room. Woo tells Sung that when they arrived, they only found Sung lying on the ground, and there was no temple or statues. Woo asks Sung if he had a second awakening. Sung wonders about it and checks Kang's mana meter to see if the same thing happened to him. Unfortunately, Sung's mana levels haven't changed. Why is he so bummed? Well, at least you still have your leg. In his room, Sung is surprised that they didn't ask him about the window screen in front of him. Bro definitely thinks he's on shrooms. He plays around with the window screen for a bit, and Sung learns that he's now the player and has to complete a daily strength training quest. The system warns him of penalties if he doesn't follow the system's demands and mentions a reward, but Sung is unsure about it all. In the hospital, the window screen tells Sung that he didn't complete his daily task. Suddenly, Sung finds himself in a desert-like place with a huge centipede looming over him. The window screen informs Sung that he must survive for 4 hours since he failed the daily quest. Sung runs for his life, manages to complete the quest, and ends up back in the hospital. I'll be damned if he misses his daily tasks now this early. Juhee arrives at the hospital. She sees Sung running outside and goes to confront him. Meanwhile, we find out that Sung completed his daily strength training quest. Additionally, Sung talks about what he learned about the player development system and the 3 types of rewards he gets for completing quests. These rewards include complete recovery, ability points, and a random loot box that often contains various items. Sung goes back to his hospital room to check what's in today's loot box. He finds a key that lets him teleport to an instance dungeon. Sung is curious about what that is. We see a series of scenes where Sung completes his daily quests. In his hospital room, Sung decides to focus most of his ability points on increasing his strength. Then he goes to Hakjong Station and uses the loot box key to enter an instance dungeon. Suddenly, the dungeon closes and the window screen tells Sung that he must defeat the dungeon's boss or use a teleportation stone to go home. Well, he's screwed. Sung faces several goblins and defeats them. Then a steel-fanged lichen appears, making Sung uneasy. He's worried because he knows he can't rely on anyone to heal him if the lichen injures or kills him. The episode ends with the lichen leaping towards Sung, the steel-fanged lichen leaping towards Sung. Luckily, Sung manages to dodge the attack and counter with a punch to the lichen. They have a short fight, and his moves have no effect, so he opens the inventory menu from the window screen, takes out a magic sword, and uses it to defeat the lichen. Bro got 3 items in his inventory. Out of the blue, 2 more lichens charge at Sung. He slashes the other lichen's face off. The third one retreats, giving Sung a moment to catch his breath. He checks his window screen's menu and sees that his level and stats increase due to the real combat experience. Suddenly, multiple Lycans show up, and Sung confronts them with all his strength. As he defeats each Lycan, several level-up notifications appear, and Sung eventually earns the title of Wolf Assassin. After defeating all the Lycans, Sung notices that his sword is wearing out. The log for the Wolf Assassin title appears again, letting Sung know that he has gained various items, including a teleportation stone. Sung decides to keep exploring the Instance Dungeon. Meanwhile, Sung is busy defeating magic beasts and gaining levels in the Instance Dungeon. He also observes how the color of the monsters' titles indicates their strength levels, and how this color can change based on Sung's current level. RMC is getting stronger.
Nice.
Sung ventures into a perilous area, anticipating a formidable magic beast challenge. As he explores, the magic beast attacks Sung, breaking his sword. The creature, colored orange in its name, signifies it's on equal ground with Sung. He assumes this snake, known as Kasaka, is the dungeon's boss. Quite obvious, isn't it? Despite uncertainty about facing its impenetrable skin, Sung engages in battle. He has a really hard time fighting the snake. Reflecting on courage, weakness, and strength based on his experiences as a hunter and a citizen over the years, fueled by determination and memories of the god statue, he's becoming cool by the second. Sung uses his strength to overpower and defeat Kasaka. After Sung defeats the Kasaka, multiple log entries pop up, indicating a significant level up due to the victory. He also acquires a dagger made from the Kasaka's fangs and a venom gland. Now that is a loot, the window screen transports Sung back to Earth, where he encounters a soldier leading him to a tragic incident. Sung discovers a dungeon break has occurred. Arriving there, he observes several hunters and healers struggling against the dungeon break boss. Observing Juhi struggling in the party due to the lingering effects of the god statue incident. To aid the party, he throws his broken sword at the boss, defeating it in one blow. A member notices Sung's dagger and inquires about the person who threw it. Well, it looks like our MC isn't all that pathetic now. Sung is surprised that he managed to penetrate the boss's defenses with his broken sword in one shot. The episode ends with Juhi questioning whether Sung was the one who threw the sword. The series continues in the hospital with the nurses talking about Jin Woo's body. At the same time, Jin Woo is in sweat as he is doing his daily exercises. All the nurses are drooling over him. A nurse enters his room and sees him shirtless. She startles and admires Jin Woo's muscles. He asks, "What do you want to tell me?" She shyly informs him that today is his day of discharge. She also seeks her chance and asks for his number. Our MC is a hunk now. The scene shifts to a news channel interviewing Baek Yoonho. He flexes how awesome he is with training as he was a firefighter before. He is one of the Seveners rank hunters after all. Jinna, watching the news, turns the TV off and calls out Jin Woo, who just got out of the room. She is amazed by the sudden transformation of her previously loser brother. She is curious if he is exercising and about how one can grow after adulthood. Jin Woo bids her goodbye as she leaves for school, while he insists that she bring an umbrella. Jin Woo plays around with the system and slacks off on the running. He also sees that he has some points left and thinks of transferring it to strength and agility, as what will a dumbass like him do with intelligence? He gets a call from his landlord asking for his delayed rent. He says he will transfer it in a bit, and the landlord appreciates it. He then tries to find a higher level gate to make money. However, even though he had a double awakening, he is still an E-rank hunter. It is still hard to get a decent gate for his rank. He thinks of re-evaluation, but contemplates that it will attract unnecessary attention, given that he is a rare type now. He finds a raid, and as he is running there, he finishes his daily tasks. About to accept the daily quest reward, he is interrupted by other members of the raid. Hwang Dong-suk introduces himself, while other members mock Jin Woo. Dong-suk stops them and tells him that he was only recruited because they need at least 8 people for a C-rank dungeon, and he's just a filler. He is not counted as combat power and will not get spoils, but will receive 2 million in cash as commission. Lame, but it pays the bill. He senses 4 C rank and 2 D rank or lower in the group. He is just to carry the luggage. He asks, "You're not bringing a healer in?" Dong-suk says they always managed like this. Jin Woo thinks they are reckless with just tankers and fighters, and it is quite concerning. He signs the contract even though it says the other party won't be accountable for any incidents in the dungeon. Yu Jinho, a 21-year-old D-rank hunter, approaches Jinwoo. Everyone is amazed by his flashy gear, and he promises to help protect Jinwoo. Well, he's in for a surprise. They talk as they approach the gate. They are taken aback by its enormous size. Jinho is worried, but Jinwoo says that a gate's size doesn't matter, but rather the magical energy it radiates outward. Jinwoo is still a bit nervous, as it's his first time entering a C-rank dungeon. As they enter, Jinho asks Jinwoo about luminescent stones which can be gotten from cave dungeons. As they walk further into the ominous dungeon, there's no beast to be seen. Jinwoo, using his intuition, warns the team about the attack of insect-type magic beasts. The other members are panicking as they get ambushed from above. Due to Jinwoo's warning, they fight back. Dong-suk uses his taunting skill, calling all the insects towards him, while Jinho protects Jinwoo. Finally, they kill all the beasts with teamwork, but it leaves Jinwoo a little frustrated. Puny insects for him. They win, and it is time to gather the loot and divide it into 7. Dong-suk approaches Jinwoo, thanking him. They all are confused over the state of some bugs, as they have been half-eaten. Jinwoo asks Jinho if his sword and shield are expensive. Jinho responded yes, as it was given by his father for his first raid. Jinwoo warns him to be cautious. The scene shifts to the White Tiger Guild office, and their leader Beak is training, smashing a boulder. Amazing. Back to our raid team. They are making progress in the dungeon. However, Jinwoo is still uneasy with the group. They then reach a room full of magic crystals. They hit the jackpot. Everyone's excited. Dong-suk dreams about surpassing his brother. Jinho asks Dong-suk about Jinwoo's contract about the spoils, and magic crystals are not considered as spoils. Dong-suk cheerfully says it will be divided fairly. However, they need to deal with that guy first, a deadly, terrifying-looking spider who is currently sleeping. Dong-suk cautions everyone and tells them that they'll need to harvest the magic crystals before it wake up. He asks one of his men, and suddenly they don't have enough equipment to harvest the crystals. Dong-suk tells Jinwoo and Jinho to stay put while they bring the tools. Jinwoo's suspicion about this team grows. He's spot on as Dong-suk, with an evil grin, asks Q1 to block off the entrance to the tunnel, trapping Jinwoo and Jinho. Jinwoo remembers Chiul's advice about the weak being used as bait to lure the enemy, as there's no surveillance in the dungeons. Jinho is terrified as the giant spider, a C-rank boss, wakes up. He steps up to defend Jinwoo, but Jinwoo steps forward saying, "Jinho, stay put. I'll handle this guy." Jinwoo conjures up his dagger, and we see the world's weakest hunter face to face with a C-rank boss.
That's our recap for today. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, and enable the notification bell.